That's a very funny thing to say.
Thank you for your
You
humor,
know it's
Rye.
funny when someone says deadpan.
I appreciate your humor.
Thing.
I thank you for the
You
laughter.
did the funny thing. I
Yes.
liked it.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Here we go again for the Vibe Union podcast, episode
I think it's 15.
15?
I think it's 15.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Nice.
Guys, my name is Rhath. I'm taking over the hosting duties today. Next to me is the boy, Dilly Dave. How exciting.
All right.
And to his left, Jason.
Hello.
How are you guys going?
Good.
Yeah, good.
Excellent.
Us beatnik poets are pretty good.
Cool. Off the top. First, we want to pay our respects to the traditional owners of the land, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. Sovereignty was never ceded. Everyone can do their part by just give them a shout out, and there's a lot we can do. A lot of protests going around. Let's get involved. All right,
Sovereignty was never ceded.
Exactly.
guys. We had Lyrebird once again. We had a little live performance out in the south.
Southeast.
Southeast, yeah.
East of Melbourne. And it went off. It was such an exciting time.
Yeah, so we've got this residency, I guess, fortnightly at Lyrebird. And this is our third show. And things seem to be progressing, growing, becoming bigger in that space. It was last time you were on as well. And that was a nice show. That was great.
Well, I wasn't there on last Friday, but then when I performed, it was very chill, sort of. Yeah,
it was
compared to the footage I saw on Friday. Yeah,
it was more seated down and chill last time. This time, people were like getting up and like having a little bounce and kind of really getting on board. Who was performing? Let us know.
Last Friday we had myself. We had Dilly Dave jumped up. We had Connor. We had. Kelsey Jean made her first appearance as well. I think her first booked appearance outside performing at open mics.
And that was quite powerful and magic. Cool.
I think so. Yeah.
She absolutely killed it. I was transfixed.
As was I.
Yeah. Golly.
I unfortunately keep forgetting. I know
Freddie and Hooch.
The name of the act.
Sambuca.
Yeah.
Sambone or Samboni.
It's here now. I'm gonna put the text right here so it's nice and clear.
And we can leave the struggle behind.
For people who are listening to audio only, it'll be in the description probably, or go to the Vibe Union Instagram page and you'll see them tagged and posted around and shit. Yeah,
that'll be the way to go. Instagram, Facebook, you know where we are on the socials. We aren't on Parler because Parler is passe. So there we go. Little parlor joke for all you guys out there.
So we branched out a little bit this time. Kelsey Jean is more folk, pretty much strictly folk music. Freddie brought a mix between kind of acoustic singer-songwriter and then some interesting, almost like synthwave 80s beats at the end. Yeah, that was really cool. He took a risk on stage, which was really sick. He showed that he was a bit nervous, but he took that dive and.
Came out the other side.
Fucking nailed it.
We've all been there.
You dive into the unknown, not knowing what's going to happen, and then somehow, the sink or swim, you come out the other side, and people give you a round of applause.
There's lyrics right there.
There.
It's so important. This is the beauty of going to open mics. Not that this was an open mic, though it did turn into one. We'll talk about that in a second. But testing it's such an obvious thing, but I've seen the question pop up a lot before on forums and things like that I kind of hang out on, and people will say, like, how do I get out of my bedroom? Like, what's the next step? How do I actually start building a following? How do I start building an audience? How do I meet new musicians? That's the biggest one. How do I meet people in my area to do music with? And the unfortunate, it's the exciting but unfortunate answer is, especially for people who, like myself, perhaps a little bit introverted at the start of their little music journey, but you just gotta fucking embarrass the shit out of yourself out of an open mic. You gotta go red in the face like a goddamn turnip on the mic and look like a bit of a fool. Well, a bit of a fool in your eyes. No one else in the audience thinks you look like a fool.
People
That's
are just
good.
happy that you got up there and had the nerve to go up there and do your stuff. And even if it's incredibly awkward and you kind of fuck up, you know, minutes after you get off the stage, people will be like, "Oh, nice, that was great," you know, like, that was cool. But I guess let's bring it to the topic of this podcast, so kind of maybe a rounded theme, which is like maybe how to maximize flow and performance of a live night, like how to set yourself up for a good live night.
So we had a discussion prior to this performance because we started to branch out into some different genres, and we thought like, okay, how are we going to put these into a night so it all kind of flows and makes sense? And our approach for this one was basically the sense of constantly rising energy. So we had folk music at the bottom into kind of more singer-songwriter, then into a bit of synthwave within one act, which was good. So that kind of acted as a transitional piece.
And well-known covers for people to get on board as well, which helped in Freddie's
Actually, I didn't
piece.
think about that,
Yeah, that's a really good idea. That's a really good point. Transition then up into R&B and then pretty much into straight hip-hop with some trap from Dilly and into some more jazzy kind of hip-hop for myself.
Yeah, you covered 3 bases. You covered jazz, boom bap, and trap. It was great. Just want to give a shout out to Rhath, who really came into himself on the stage. The movement was there, the confidence, like but also the delivery and everything. I've been watching Rye do this for about a year now, and the progression and the growth purely through being dedicated, disciplined, and doing it over and over and over, going out, meeting people, growing from that. Yeah, I mean the proof's in the pudding on stage, and you really repped it, man. Big ups to you, Rhath. You killed it.
Thank you very much. I did feel so much more in my element this time. You gave me some exceptionally good advice prior to this performance, which I took on board.
He did. Nobody takes my advice on board, so that was real nice.
I might have to start then.
Yeah. Well, you did.
If that's the outcome, then I
you
might
did
have to
once,
start.
and you went and bought a USB that you didn't need.
Hey, see?
Yeah, that's right. I said before I wasn't going to listen to anyone involving you ever again. But contradicted myself already.
That's it. Here we are listening to ourselves.
It's an interesting thing because you told me to be a little bit less self-deprecating in between tracks.
Yes.
Which I think that came from like a podcast persona. So like when I'm talking on the podcast, and especially when I'm talking on previous podcasts I've been part of, I'd be way more self-deprecating and just a bit more joking around and shit like that, which suits that kind of medium, I think. But in between songs, and my songs are a lot more serious than my persona is off stage, and so it didn't really gel. And
you don't want to break the character that's happening in those songs. You want to keep that character alive for the most part, and it just made it like the back-to-back from the tracks just seemed so much seamless, and you were able to like hold Rhath there for so much longer, which was really cool.
Cool.
It was great to see. Hey.
So I had a thought about in terms of flow of a night. Because I did a DJ set the other night with Georgia Delaney Martin. What was it? DJ
Shout-outs. Martini.
And I had a thought, because it's been a while since I DJ'd, and it was a 2-hour slot. And then I kind of wanted to think about, okay, how am I going to structure a 2-hour set? And this kind of plays into what we're talking about here about the flow of a night as well. When you're and this is more open to discussion rather than me just stating a fact, my approach was try and start really relaxed, try and build it up into kind of hinting towards what she was going to do with a bit more kind of Afro world kind of house music, and then bring it back down to some more deep house prior to her set, so that's giving her a nice kind of foundation, because that way when she gets on stage, that's a step up, so it feels like the energy rises, rather than I've seen it happen before when some DJs, I imagine you could also look at it in like maybe comedy. I wonder, like, if you're a support actor as a comedian and you go in so hard with such huge energy, if you know that the headliner perhaps is a bit more deadpan, a bit more relaxed kind of humor, I would feel that would be quite a strange way to kick off the night, like an explosion and then comes down for the headliner.
You haven't set them up properly. And what you're alluding to is just like being aware of the other artists who you're performing with, because it's a collective night. It's not just about you. It's not about you standing out from everyone else. It's about the whole thing running together. So, you're talking about being aware of what George's tracks are in the DJ set. and then kind of accommodating for that. And I guess even the way that we shaped the lineup for the night, and we do it like I guess each time it's like, okay, how did these 4 to 5 artists fit best together in a sequence of events? Yeah.
So like were you talking about like the comedy? Yeah, if the headliner obviously gets to, if they're big enough, I'm assuming they get to pick their warm-up act.
Yep.
And if they're picking someone that doesn't fit the vibe of the whole night, then it's on the headliner that, you know, if they're deadpan and whatever, and the person that comes on first is all over the show, then it's the fault of the person picking the thing, and therefore, so it's like
so they have to recover. You're right. So it is like it falls onto the responsibility of the people who are putting on the show.
Yeah. So that's thinking like with Vibe. So like with the way that Vibe Union seems to plan and pick out who's performing, they said there's effort put into that to make sure that it goes from A to B seamlessly. Yeah, exactly.
It's not like, all right, let's just get these random people on, get them on whenever. Okay, this person actually wants to go later now. We'll change it at the last minute. You know, it's not about that. It's like, for the benefit of the artists who are performing and the audience that are there, what is the most coherent experience that we can make?
Yeah. So I do agree that it is down to the promoter, down to whoever's running the show to plan that out. However, in that case though, okay, so say if you're giving like an opportunity, so like if you're a big headliner as a comedian or as an artist or what have you, right? And then you give the support to someone who might not be the perfect fit, but you like really appreciate what they're doing and want to give them that platform.
Yeah, give it an opportunity.
I think there is a bit of a responsibility to the warm-up act. It's a bit of a different situation with a collective like what we're doing, because we're not like, there's not a headliner and then everyone's supporting that one person.
Vibe Union is the headline and everyone is involved in that.
But nonetheless, like I think it's still, there's sort of some responsibility knowing that someone is coming after you to think about that and to think about how you're going to set the, repeating myself, but set the foundation. So if you're high energy and then you know that they're going to be more relaxed, maybe if you do take it to the high energy, you know, if you've got a couple of songs or jokes, something like that in the back pocket that you know are a bit more low key, maybe you come back down to that.
That transition into... And that's what I think that both... everyone needs to be involved and on the same wavelength and level, which makes everything work so much smoothly. So I'm like, talking before, like DJs, like if you had like one DJ and then one comes on afterwards, you know, if one DJ just doesn't understand anything and they just had this one set of whatever, and then someone comes in with a completely different thing. People are like, well, it could just change the whole aesthetic of the night.
Yeah, it might send people off the dance floor to be like, oh, well, I'm going to go out for a smoke now because, you know, the thing isn't still happening. You know?
Yeah, we've been listening to trap for 2 hours, and then now it's synth pop for the next 2, and so, well, or the other way around, and it just sort of completely changes it.
That said, there is other ways to do it. Like, it doesn't just have to go... It doesn't just have to like plateau so that the other person can then take it to the next level. You probably could end on an explosion and then the next person kind of starts low and brings it back up. So it's always like, I mean, that's classic. Like that's just in a DJ track itself, and in a dance music track, you go up, and then bring the drop, bring it back down, kind of go up, bring it back down like a roller coaster. Yeah. So, I mean, there is other approaches, but there has to be some thought behind that.
Because I think like if you put too much like a split, well, no, it's like a split, and because the audience kind of notices there's a massive shift in the tone of everything, and I don't know, sort of, whereas, you know, like when Vibe Union, we got so many different types of artists, then it just, so as I wasn't there Friday, but what I've seen, it just seemed to be, you know, start with the folk and then eventually move in, and everyone's like, okay, I'm getting on board with this, and sort of dip their toes in and then keep going.
However, it was interesting though, because the night definitely had this escalating feel to it. However, then the genre idea got thrown completely out of the water. That doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm talking about. We threw the idea out in terms of like following genres in terms of rising energy, because we opened it up as an open mic night, which wasn't planned. We just did on the fly. And so then we had some punk music, some trap, we had some Brazilian folk music, all kinds of weird shit. Not the Brazilian, weird shit. That's not how you know what I'm talking about. basically just
no. Please explain further.
Things that weren't what we things that we weren't expecting is what we got. That's what I meant.
And actually, I think that's another good point. Okay, so we're talking about how to kind of cultivate a night that runs smoothly, seamlessly, that kind of flows. And I think another element of that is having this idea of openness, and it's not all static and completely set in stone. You need to be a little bit malleable, maybe. Okay, so I've noticed that this person's just come in, they've got an instrument, we're kind of almost finished with our sets, therefore, some people, aka MQ, maybe it was MQ's idea, probably both of your idea.
It wasn't my idea.
MQ's idea to be like, all right,
MQ's,
we've got another 30 or 40 minutes or whatever, let's get some other people up.
Let's collab.
Which I think, three new artists that didn't come up before came up to do fresh stuff that it never initially planned to do that, but because it was just there and ready to go and the vibe was already there, they were happy just to be like, you know what, I could probably sit in and kind of like, have a crack at this.
So there was that rising feeling, because I think like starting off with singer-songwriter folk music, that's very much like, all right, everyone shut the fuck up. You guys gotta keep your voices down because we're sitting here and listening to this.
Let it sink in.
Yeah. And then we went up to some R&B. As you said, they played some songs people knew, so there was a bit of back and forth between the audience, so that got a little bit of audience participation. Yeah. Still a bit of the same vibe of like, okay, we're performing for you guys now. And then your set, I was on stage with you for a little bit. It started to feel like there was more happening. There was again more audience participation. There was a bit of shouting, because you love to get people to shout to your music.
People shouting, Jason.
People luckily tuned into what I was doing, and they keyed into a few of the hooks, so they were kind of calling those back out at me, which was good. And then with the open mic section, so now it's just constantly there's more bridging the gap between the audience and the performer, which I think felt amazing for that.
That's such a great point, like bridging the gap between the audience and performer. You can't always have that experience, and I guess like Lyrebird Lounge is a more of an intimate venue. Yeah, stage and audience very close to each other. Those who are in the audience are just as kind of artists, I guess. Anyway, but yeah, that's nice when you can bridge that gap. And I guess that's like, going back to the whole, I like how we're using maybe stand-up comedy as a bit of an analogy or reference point. But that's the whole point of like doing a stand-up set, is to bridge the gap between the performer and the audience and get everyone on the same page, right? Like, that's what you're there to do.
And I think having that eclectic mix of music, like on Friday, is that people get comfortable, like, oh, well, someone's, Kelsey's doing folk, or and then there's covers like, oh, it's not their own, it's not their music, it's not their song. Right. Oh, someone's doing slower stuff. Okay, they don't mind. Everyone's vibing to every genre of music that's happening. So after everyone's done, so there's been some trap, R&B, hip hop, everything, and then they're like, well, I can do whatever I want because Vibe Union's done whatever they wanted to do.
It's not locked into that little thing.
Yeah, I think that would have helped people go up and have more confidence, because like, well, everyone's been confident enough doing their genre of music they like, and then.
Well said, Jason. Surmised perfectly.
So I wanted to ask then, also, perhaps just a bit off the top, other performances, other nights, other venues, anything that has stuck in your brain that set itself apart from any other night that you've experienced, or just something that first comes to mind when you think of like, what was a night that elevated itself above others that stands alone? And for me, one quick example, we were talking last week all about
Ronnie's,
that we were talking about the dojo at Blue Bar on Chapel Street, a fierce night of freestyle energy from some incredible bombastic MCs from Melbourne. Another freestyle night that blew me away was one that happened at Rubik's over in Brunswick. Is it in Brunswick?
True, that's correct. Yeah.
Because it had a live band. It was a freestyle live band night, and that set itself apart from me because there was instantly this huge energy and openness, because there's 7 performers on stage all working together playing this music. There's an MC on stage kind of acting as the traditional sense of the MC, running the night, still freestyling as well though. And then a line along next to the stage of people who are like, okay, cool, I see there's a live mic up there, there's a hot mic, I'm gonna go up there and kind of do something. And that having being able to be a small artist, be someone who maybe hadn't even really tried freestyle before, and get up there and do it with a live band was an incredible experience, and felt like you're actually part of something bigger than just jumping on a YouTube beat.
It's the best way to train for doing your own set. Like if we're talking about how to like have a smooth live night in terms of being artists, it's nice if the artists are a little bit prepped for the stage, and the best way to do that, is open mics. But yeah, touching on that, on the Rubik's setup, and talking about some elements that made that run so smoothly, because I was at that same night and it was wild and it was great. A few of the VU crew were there actually, I think. That was last year towards the start, right? At the start of last year.
It was either the start last year or the year before.
So yeah, you've got it was probably like 6 members of the band or something, 5 or 6 members of the band who are like all extremely talented. So it's unique in the sense of like that's all improvised. So it's just like this huge element of freshness, novelty in the moment. You're not going to get this anywhere else at any other time. So there was that. There was so the name of the event is All You Can Spit. It's been happening for 4 or 5 years or more. It used to happen in Footscray. It's been all over the place. But All You Can Spit, it's just like, it's a good motto for the night, which has been like, if you've got something to say, just go and get it out. You know, it's similar in terms of its lack of limitations. The limitation is, share the mic. That's really the limitation. And I guess it already had a good reputation. It was ordered in the sense of like the MCs who wanted to spit knew where the line was to go up, and it was like you have your time and then you get off and the next person comes on, instead of like fighting for the mic, which was a bit of what was happening at Ronnie's Blue Bar. Yeah, exactly.
Imagine. Which suits the theme.
Which suits the theme,
the dojo,
yeah.
like
right.
You're getting in there, it's a bit combative in a sense.
Right. But for some people, that's not as accessible, and I completely understand that.
Definitely not for me.
Yeah.
I don't think I could handle that.
Yeah, it's a bit wild and crazy. But yeah, the All You Can Spit, it's like, no, like this is your time. We're here. We're just gonna like support, like the band's just gonna like let you ride on them, I guess. Yeah, but it was like, I think it was a lot more defined in terms of what the experience was. Therefore, MCs were comfortable doing their thing. The audience knew what was happening and were really on board.
Would you? Question on that. Would you say
Please.
that? Because I don't know. They having a live band there, would that change the types of MCs in the crowd that go compared to somewhere like the dojo? Like, because some people's like, no, well, I just want a DJ. I want this hard, heavy, whatever. And then people are like, well, I don't want to rap over a live band. Does it change the...
That's interesting. Okay, so for some MCs, doing it over a live band might be a bit more difficult.
So I think it sounds better.
For me, it sounds better, and maybe one of the only drawbacks or setbacks of Can I Kick It, which was the night that was at Ronnie's Blue Bar, or You Can Spit was at Rubik's. So, oh God, where was I going? Get it back.
Downside.
Yeah, so the downside is the tracks that they were playing at Ronnie's Blue Bar, Can I Kick It? It's just
dojo.
all boom bap, the same, the dojo. It just sounds all the same.
That sounds amazing to me.
Yeah, so for some people it's like, cool, I only want to go over those 90 boom bap beats or whatever. That's it. Yeah. For other people with the band, there's a bit more like variation in sound and flux, and it's a bit more organic. Yeah. So... Yeah, some people might be more intimidated by actually performing with the band, because it's like, oh my God, I'm with the band.
Yeah, a bit more.
It's a bit more like real in a sense. I don't want to let anyone down. It's not like just the DJ spinning tracks. Yeah. So there's a different feel to it for both, I'm not even sure if I've got a preference. I'd probably maybe lean slightly towards the band because nobody was playing trap beats, and that's what I like to freestyle over.
Yeah. But with a band, I think a band, because it's also
in terms of preference.
Preference, because you're not as on the spot in a sense. The mic's still hot. But I do kind of like I started when I first started playing music. I was in punk bands and rock bands and shit like that, and minimum there would be at least one other person with me on stage. I did a lot of White Stripes style shit with me and a drummer.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, being able to look back and see my drummer, because I own him, and being like, cool, there's a guy up here on stage, we can vibe out, and if no one else is really giving me much from the audience, I can turn back to whoever I'm with on stage, and we're getting energy off each other, so that you're always kind of being picked up. And with a full live band, like that's even elevated to another thing, because like, you know, you've still got, it's still like just jamming at home with your mates, and so you're already to a certain level.
Don't you see it as more people to let down?
I see it as more people to back you up.
Cool.
Because if you fuck up, they'll laugh along with you because they're all along for the ride. So if you fuck up, they're not going to be like, oh, get the fuck off stage. They're like, oh no, we're all performing together. This is a team effort.
Right.
But if you fuck up over just a beat and then the beat's playing, you're like,
that's all you.
Oh, well, all right.
Is it as long as I don't play any of that weird shit? Are you happy?
Yeah.
What do you think? Like, I guess, you know, you probably haven't like tackled both, but...
Well, I just realized I contradicted myself and I said I like both of them over the other one. So, but I like the idea of the live band more because it seems, I don't know, more of a relaxed environment than... Okay. I said I like go with boom bap, but if it depends on the night. I said something like the dojo. I don't think I'd ever get up on stage there.
It's daunting. It's very daunting.
But like something with a band, it's sort of that. Right. I don't know, kind of.
It's a different pace, tone.
Different. Yeah, tone. That's I think it's more up my alley. But I said I haven't been to either of them, so I.
Well, you'll be able to catch Jason this Wednesday at the dojo. Looking live, loud, and large.
Yeah.
Actually, I've got a question then, Jason, as well. So. Because you were started out as a poet. I mean, you are a poet, and now you started to transition to performing over beats as a rapper. Do you find it more nerve-wracking being up there as just a poet with no backing at all, just your voice and a hot mic, or with the beat behind you?
I think at the moment the beat is harder, is because as a spoken word with no music, you're the one in charge of the flow, the tone, what you say, how you say it, when you say things, when to slow. Well, for me, because I rhyme it and a bit more of a flow, when to speed it up, when to slow it down. Whereas it's a beat, you've got less of a. You have to fit more into a framework.
There's
of
one
stuff.
pace.
And it's sort of. I said I did the last week, and I missed like 4 bars, and I'm like, well, I've got to wait for. And then I have to. So you kind of sort of, if you miss something in poetry, you kind of just be like. Dramatic pause, and you can kind of get away with a bit more, unless you're like, oh shit, I've forgotten everything. So I think spoken word is easier, because you can manipulate it more than a beat.
And you also probably don't have to like wrestle with the volume of the beat as well.
Yeah, that was the one thing I was like, the first time I performed with, and I'm like, I don't know what I sound like. I don't like it.
Yeah.
And then when I did the 2 poems, when there was. Like the music was a bit more relaxed. I could hear. I'm like, all right, I'm a bit more comfortable with this. So
that's one of the things. That's actually a good thing about open mics as well. Is it trains you for bad sound systems.
Yeah, that's the one thing now. I'm doing. I didn't do many open mics of poetry, which was probably to my detriment because I would do stuff for competitions, but I never actually perform in open mics to try to. So I think now I'm going to start to do open mics, or just so get that nerve out, get those nerves out, and like, well, if I fuck up here, doesn't really matter. It's an open mic.
Yeah, the stakes are super low, but it's such a good opportunity just to like ingrain the good traits that you want to have on stage.
Okay, that's where I went wrong for a beat or a song or poetry. Like, okay, that's where I went wrong. All right, I've done it in front of people now. I've screwed up in front of people now. I can not do it.
That's the best. That's the best place to make mistakes is in front of other people, because it's like, all right, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
So I'm going to correct it. Yeah. So many times, shout outs to Bausu for having their open mic. Essentially, I would go there to train, to practice my set for a gig. And what would happen is, I do practice, I remember the lines. You get up stage, things happen. You forget lines. But that moment, that distinct moment, that memory of forgetting the lines and the feeling of like being annoyed with yourself you practice that way more the next time, and you're not going to fuck that up next time.
I think that was my thing. I always was like, oh, I've got this in the back of my head. I'm fine. I've been rehearsing all week or the last 2 weeks. I've got the beat. I've got the headphones in, walking to the shops. I'm like, oh, just rehearsing it. I'm like, I hope no one's walking past because I sound like a madman, just muttering to myself.
Don't worry, I'll do it.
And then, or on the train or whatever. And the good thing, if I'm wearing a mask, is I can just and no one knows
the masks.
Yeah,
true.
And that's like, I'm like, I've got this. And then all of a sudden you go on stage, I'm like, I'm in front of people now. I've been rehearsing in my lounge room with no one around.
It's not the same. I'm not simulating the same environment.
But the one thing I've found, like, with some of my poetry, like if I record it and I listen back to it in my head, I'm like, and then I'm like, okay, I can listen. And then I go, oh, that bit sounds disgusting.
Yeah.
But nothing beats practicing on stage in front of people.
Totally.
And I was just always so stubborn. I'm like, nah, I don't need open mics. It's fine,
Yeah, because you think you can practice in your own time, but it's not the same practice.
No.
I mean, to use stand-up comedy as an example as well, like people talk about that you have to do it live because you have the rhythm in your head of a joke, but until you actually hear the response to the audience, you don't know if it's going to land.
Exactly.
To get the exact rhythm to the punchline right, that's just got to be trial and error in front of a crowd.
Yeah. That, and it's like one thing to tell a joke to yourself, and everyone thinks, I mean, if you're a comedian, obviously, or trying to be a comedian, obviously you think that you're funny. Therefore, you're gonna already have that bias of like, oh, I did the funny thing. But most other people might be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So you better sort that out before you expect laughs from us.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Friday night at Lyrebird was. I kind of wish I had done more. I wish I had performed more of my songs in that setting before I put them on the album. Album's kind of already finished and coming out soon anyway. But hearing, there was this big sigh of relief when people were picking up the hooks within one song. I didn't need to tell them. They just, after the first chorus, they were like, cool, we get it. We're on to the next one.
Shout outs to Johnny for that.
Yeah, incredible. But hearing that back, I was like, oh, fuck, I should have tested these more before I recorded them to make sure that is actually a thing, because you don't know. You might think the hook's really catchy, but it's hard to really judge until people hear it and start to actually send it back to you, get that energy back. Same with like, maybe the chorus is 2 times as long as it needs to be. Maybe you only need one chorus. Maybe you don't need to double up at the end,
Yeah, because it's awkward doing it that many times, blah, 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 on stage. And people are like, all right, tie it up.
Yeah.
Just to cross-pollinate both ideas that you had, yours was being like... Jason's was like, you record and you listen back to your poem and you're like, oh, that sounded weird or whatever.
Yeah.
That's definitely what I do with my tracks. I record that demo or listen to that demo and I'm like, you know what, I can do this better live, test it out live, and then when you come back through that practice, then you can get the good take that's like, had the feedback from audience, had feedback from other people and environments.
I think it's more important, doesn't matter which way you do it, is just you're able to at least hear yourself or get some kind of feedback from instead of just going, I've just rehearsed, I've heard myself, I'm good. You need that kind of, the other perspective somehow. Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
There's so I think we might have touched on this before in a previous episode. I can't really remember.
We've touched everything.
Okay, which we shouldn't have been doing during COVID.
That's a very funny thing to say.
Thank you for your humor, Rye.
It's funny when someone says deadpan.
I appreciate your humor. I thank you for the laughter.
You did the funny thing. I liked it.
Thank you.
Well, I'm very, very excited to continue speaking to both of you.
Oh, please continue, Rye.
Please continue with the humor. Thank you.
So, especially like something like music or poetry as well, it's such a subjective kind of art form. You can kind of walk away with the ego and go, all right, cool, this is what I want it to be, and no one else can tell me any differently, which is on one side really, really, that's totally fine. If you want to make a very specific thing and you love the way you do it, you love the outcome, then fucking sweet, that's great. But then people are often kind of a bit disappointed when they don't get the reaction that they were hoping for. It's like, oh man, I think this is great. Why isn't the audience reacting the same way that I want to react? And it's yes, it is up to you. You are the artist. You make the decisions. You get to call the shots, and it can be exactly what you want it to be and as self-indulgent as you want it to be. But at the end of the day, if you're performing especially, then you are still trying to communicate an idea to the audience. And if your communication skills are failing, that's kind of your job to fix them and get them to the level where they easily understand you the first round.
Yeah. I just came up with a brilliant phrase in my mind to summarize that thought.
Please.
If they don't get it, you don't got it.
Thank you for that, Dilly. Thank you.
Isn't that brilliant, though?
That's good.
Yes.
That's good.
That's a new tagline.
Thank you.
Well, I know. I remember. So I think it was the last poetry competition I did before. In the before times, I decided to do a poem that didn't rhyme, and I put a lot of effort. Like it was like heavy on metaphors, like something I'm not great at. And I was like really proud of it, and it bombed. Like it was one of the worst poems. But before that, they were like, "Oh, you do like a couple of people like, oh, you do like the angry autistic rhyming poems, right?"
That's your brand.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah. I guess
you should call yourself the angry autist.
That's good.
I can say that, Dilly. Thank you.
Sorry.
And then I was just like, oh, okay. Now I've sort of. Oh shit, that's my brand now. An angry autistic man, I guess. Like, and then I was like, no, I'm going to do something different. They were like, oh, okay, if you want to. And then I went up there and it bombed. I'm like,
look, Jason,
cool.
we'd prefer it if you don't try different things.
Yeah, just keep in your lane.
Yeah.
Your autistic lane, and just move on.
Just keep calculated and crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I guess that just goes to show that like to branch out, you do need to put in the time and the practice and the effort to get there, because it's a totally different way of communicating. It's a very different type of it's a different, totally different language basically. Same as like, writing long form psychedelic rock. How I started and then transitioning into hip hop, it's taken a long time to figure out like, how do I write a chorus for hip hop compared to that kind of music, because it's a totally different beast.
Different. I was talking to D-Rad MC, shout outs to D-Rad MC last night actually. We're doing a little bit of video editing, and we're talking about, everything under the sun. And we were talking about, one of the key differences between, like say for example, the rock genre and the hip hop genre is rock bands aren't putting out like diss tracks and talking about how like they're the best rock band that ever was, except for Tenacious D in a way. It's probably like the only exception to the rule, but it's a very interesting, what you're saying in terms of writing a rock song or, rock psychedelic, blah, 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 whatever song compared to a hip hop track, because the hip hop track is more, it's very much talking about what's happening in the scene and or for people or at other MCs.
Yeah.
It's very like inside of that world. It's very like it's more, I think in a way it's more exclusive, in terms of the subject matter compared to like what a rock song would be about. Just more broad covers. It's kind of like what's the word? I guess ambiguous. Like you don't know exactly what it is about specifically, but it relates to a bunch of people.
That's I like the word ambiguous. I think that really sums it up. So writing for folk music, writing for rock music back in the day, and writing more poetry. Actually, no, poetry again actually is way more like you need to understand what the fuck I'm talking about, because otherwise, because I've gotten up on stage and done some spoken word stuff, and I know that when I do the more post-apocalyptic shit, people are like, nah, I don't get it. I don't get what you're trying to do. And it's like, oh, right, because I've got a world in my mind. I've spent so much time thinking about this that I know all the references. I get so much more out of it because I've actually already done the work.
Right.
It's like, actually, so an example of hip hop. So like Kanye could say something now that people only understand because he's Kanye. He's already spent an entire career setting up that punchline, right?
We call that contextual Kanye.
Contextual Kanye. There takes a lot. So I guess like for a smaller artist, it's harder too, because you need to communicate so much more information at the start.
People don't know your story.
Yeah.
And that's why I guess maybe. Yeah, I think it's just a very interesting comparison. It really blows my mind. It seems like hip hop is the only genre that's like. It's like. Like every rapper's like, I'm the best rapper that ever was.
Yeah.
Every rapper's like, all these other motherfuckers ain't shit.
There seems to be more of a clear-cut framework where you can follow compared to like rock or something.
Right.
I mean, we've talked about before about seeing the get down challenges and stuff. Mm-hmm. The framework of a lot of the people that it's sort of. A lot of people are saying
the same even bars, the lines.
It's sort of kind of the same thing. And sort of like, if you keep this framework, then people are, okay, well, that's what everyone else is saying. Right. I know what this is talking about.
Right.
Whereas, you're talking about your psychedelic sci-fi poems. If you put the right sound to it, behind it, people will be like, oh, okay. Oh, there's some this, that. There's some ambient stuff. Oh, okay.
Right. The sound creates the world, the context.
So I think, rock songs you can sort of branch out and sort of talk about a lot more other things.
Well, there's also, I think, there's two sides to hip hop though, because there's the sport of hip hop, and then there's the art form as well, and they can meet or they can be totally separate. And a lot of the artists I listen to, I think one that really comes to mind just off the bat as a good example is Milo from the States. Maybe I'm trying to think of maybe another better example. Actually, even Kendrick Lamar is probably a pretty good example of someone who's like. Because he's not really rapping on his albums in a way that's like... You wouldn't take those rhymes to a battle. You wouldn't take those rhymes to a freestyle night, right?
It's introspective and storytelling.
Yeah. But like at the dojo, I don't want to hear that shit on an album. If you put that onto an album, I am tapping out. Unless the production is fucking phenomenal, then I'm hooked by the beat. And I hear a lot of that when, people grab a couple of YouTube type beats and I'm putting out a mixtape, and then they're spitting shit like they would at the dojo, which is just, I'm the best rapper, all these other motherfuckers ain't shit. And unless your wordplay is fucking phenomenal, like actually we spoke on MF Doom recently because of his passing, who he can write a hype track that's kind of the same vibe of just like, I'm the best rapper, all these other ones aren't shit. But his technical wordplay is just
the way he tells you how good he is.
If you're telling me that you're the best MC that's out there, you can't use anyone else's lines unless you're like within your thing, like paying ode or homage and calling that out. It's like unless that's somehow made obvious, like you're bringing light to the reference inside of the verse and then coming onto the next lines. But I mean, God, it's so wild. I guess. You could make maybe a similar argument for rock songs in the sense of like, you take 100 rock choruses, like popular rock choruses. Yeah. And I guess the amount of words that are going to be used for that are probably very in the same world, very small. Yeah. It's probably like, 30 words that could, write all those choruses.
The amount of pop songs and pop music that have the same 4 chords is incredible. And then they just use that over and over again for so many songs. Yeah. I guess, if it works, it works.
Right.
Humans like familiarity.
Yeah, it's easy to talk. It's easier to talk how good you are than actually writing something.
Well,
else.
okay, so but we're saying there's a framework for this style of hip hop, but also there's a framework for that rock music. Yeah. Because we're talking as if like, you can write about anything. But what do they write about? They write about girls. They write about fucking
booze, being decrepit, being like deros, I guess.
Yeah.
Being fuck ups.
It's the same shit recycled over and over again.
My
which is
parents
also
don't love me, no.
I also think fine. Yeah, my dad doesn't love. I don't get respect from my dad. It's like such a common theme, like that kind of shit.
My dad beat me as a kid.
But
it's more country.
I think it's
That's
okay.
Very country.
Yeah, it's very
because
country.
It's worth hearing the same messages over and over again from different people, because everyone says it a little bit differently. The right person at the right time will hear that message and they'll hear it a little bit differently.
They're universal messages, definitely.
But there's definitely just as much cookie cutter rock music. In fact, I would say I would prefer to listen to cookie cutter hip hop any day, because cookie cutter rock is just so. I'm gonna shit over rock music a little bit. Just I think the sound is really abrasive a lot of the time. So if it's not elevated beyond the bass level, I'm tapping the fuck out.
Right.
At least with hip hop, if it's a nice boom bap beat, I'm there. I'll chuck it on in the background.
Yeah,
It's background music for me. It's still chill.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. I don't even know if I listen to rock anymore.
I listen to very little. I listen to the stuff that I used to listen. I listened to the White Stripes and Led Zeppelin and all the, just classics that I used to listen to as a kid.
Yeah, for me, like when I was a kid, rock used to be everything.
Yeah.
I used to love Powderfinger back in the day. How embarrassing is that? I'm kidding. I'm not saying that's embarrassing though.
My start was in Green Day. That was my go-to, and I still think it's in there. It's still very much rooted in everything that I write.
You go.
So I was like the music, but like music's changed. So like rap and hip hop is just, and like trap and mumble rap. There's more, I guess, genres of that original thing has come forward. So more people more people listen to say rap or hip hop, but then there's so many different genres coming off that. Just like now, if you look at rock, there's alternative rock and punk rock and all this other stuff. And so there's so many more options. Therefore, so many different people are listening to different types.
That's a great point. Like so many more different types of people are listening to more different genres of hip hop. For example, obviously currently hip hop's the biggest genre in the world, right? And I think that's because all the different sounds that are attributed to that has grown out of what it was initially, which was, I guess, niche and precise.
Well, I think because it was to fit a very particular community of people as well. It was created by the community for the community. The fact that the three white dudes in Australia is talking about hip hop is crazy because from where it came from to where it is now. Like the fact that one of the most popular playlists on Spotify is chill hip hop beats to study to. Like that's such a particular
my jam,
niche.
That one,
Me too.
Niche little part of hip hop that I think is almost disconnected in a sense because it's like it's almost like elevator music in a sense. It's designed for a very specific purpose, which is fascinating to me.
It's elevator music.
Yeah, I'm not dissing that either. Like I fucking love that shit and I love that style. I mean, there's deep-rooted history in that style of music coming from like Nujabes and
I always go up and down on that type of music.
Yeah.
Right. Comes and goes.
There we go. Thank you.
My God. Jesus.
I'm so glad you laughed at that otherwise.
Oh, dear.
Well, he's firing in all cylinders, Jason is.
Yeah.
Tell you what. I'm looking out the window at these big red sticks and I got one right next to me,
I mean, I want to be offended, but I can't be.
If I said
I'll be called worse.
If I said little red stick, you'd be like, "Hey, I'm big."
Guys.
Anyway,
I think that feels. I'm just feeling out the room, and I think that feels like a great place to wrap her up.
Big red stick.
Big red stick out. Yeah.
That's it.
It's the name of my first album, I think.
Guys,
that would be a great.
People listening, people watching. We got Jason. We got Dilly. I'm Rhath. This is the Vibe Union podcast.
Unknown user, yeah?
Unknown user. Username unknown.
Username unknown.
Yeah. Don't worry. I put the tags on the screen. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can already see it.
Beautiful.
This is the Vibe Union podcast. Please like, please comment, please subscribe, please troll us. We got our first troll the other day and we want to encourage that as much as possible. Please critique us. Please take us to task because it's fun to respond to them. We're not giving him airtime. That's not how this works. But we will respond in the comment section. Unless you're really funny about it, then you'll get a response on mic, maybe.
Absolutely. Well said, Rhath. We're talking about your flame on is what we're trying to tell you guys. If you want to give us anything, give it to us. We're
relatively thick-skinned.
Bomb in the mailbox. It's all right. It's all good. Jason, final words. Just let him hear it.
Oh God. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
He said, "Oh God." I don't know. God. So I think he's calling up to the man upstairs. Oh God.
Jesus is still alright with me.
He's still alright with
DC
you.
Talk. Yeah. My. I remember the ads on TV about them. It was black and white. Everything was in black and white, and they were like,
Jesus still loves
What's it?
you.
Jesus is still all right with me. Jesus is still all right. Oh yeah, the lyrics are amazing.
Yeah, that rings a bell.
Yeah,
I can't picture any more.
And then they were all. That was the typical '90s, and they had like boy band moves, but they were like, it was the best. Yeah.
Is there anything more cringy than Christian music? Unfortunately,
no, I don't
think so.
There is Christian rap. Christian rap is...
Give me that Christian side hug. Yeah. That Christian side hug.
Not that there's not good Christian rappers, but we know exactly what that specific fucking style of super clean Christian music is so bizarre to me. I don't understand how to connect to the children. How are we going to get to the children?
Through rap.
Yeah.
Dilly? Hey, Dilly can have the final words this time.
The final words are, if they don't get it, you don't got it.
That's great.
You.
Peace.
Excellent.
Enjoy.
Like,
Goodbye.
comment, subscribe, follow Dilly, follow myself, follow Jason, follow us. We're on Spotify. No, we're not. No, yeah, this is on Spotify. Our music's coming to Spotify soon. Fuck it. Anyway, see you
Every
later.
week something happens. Bye.
I'm a good host. Shut up.